So, hi there. This is still Killing Us Softly because we haven't found another title. And this is episode 2, and it is March 2nd, 2025. And I'm Kara, and this is my co host, Liana.
LG. Yeah.
LG.
LG. That's what the kids call me at school. It's only two
Awesome.
syllables and it stands for life's good.
That's great. Okay. LG and I are covering some territory from the 1980s, and we were going to set the stage today. We were going to set the stage at on Houston Street, and maybe you can start, Leona, because that's where we met the man who we worked for years on his painting crew. And was Houston between First and Second?
It was housed in between Mulberry and Mott.
Right. Even
Okay.
better. Even
Even
better.
better. And 48 East Houston was a hub for all kinds of things.
What year are we in now? Did we ever
Oh
determine that?
man, I don't know. I mean, I moved there in 86, maybe it was 87. When were we fighting the bike ban? That's what year it was. And I should have that in my head. But we were fighting the bike ban and that
What was the
and
bike ban? Wait, wasn't it a bike lane? What was the bike ban?
the bike ban, the mayor at that time, who I don't need to mention, or
Was
maybe
it
I should.
Koch or
It was
Diggins?
Koch was the mayor, and a woman up on the Upper East Side, an old elderly woman, was run over by a scofflaw bicycle messenger who was riding on the sidewalk. And
Oh, okay.
everybody knows you do not ride on the sidewalk on the Upper East Side, but you can't control everybody.
Right.
So that happened, and all of a sudden we had to get rid of all the bike messengers because we're riding on sidewalks and whatever reason, right? We know what those reasons were. Um, so the city said that they were going to ban all bicycles from Fifth Park and Madison Avenues during the
Oh,
weekdays
right.
between the hours of 9 and 5.
And that's where a lot of these deliveries had to be made.
How are we supposed to work the city of New York without the major arteries? Hello?
Okay,
Okay.
so that was sort of the political bicycle temperature, but the visual temperature is that 48 East Houston Street on the south side, it was a storefront. This is Steve Stallman's, and the reason we're setting the stage here is this was where, I don't know, it was like the clubhouse, right? It was like the Bike Messenger Clubhouse because Steve Stallman was working. Well, you'll say that bit, but visually, it's an old storefront. You go in the front door. Was there like a bell? Like when you opened the door, was there like a ting, like a
Yeah.
bell that rung? I think there was.
Yeah, he knew you were coming.
And so this huge, it was huge, never renovated, huge space, ground floor, filled with antique bars. Um, and then this like little raised area in the back where Mr. Steve Stallman sat in a swivel chair with mounds of papers. Was there a computer?
uh Yeah, I think he must have because he was producing the stuff, you know.
And
He used to do a newspaper.
he was rather big with like an old hippie with a beard, right?
Oh yeah, he'd play guitar. When he would play his guitar and start singing
Oh,
his songs, that's when you knew he was really feeling it. It didn't happen very often, but
I don't remember that. But
well,
I
I know he
remember,
didn't do it for everyone. He didn't do it for everyone. It would be like, if I'd be in there and he'd pull his guitar out and we'd start singing or something like.
but his main purpose in life was to develop a vehicle that one person could power on their own power that could move through space. And he had all these drawings, and that's why all the bike messengers would like come there after work? I don't get that
No,
part.
well, we went there after work because, of course, Stallman, he had his whole dream of electric vehicles and solar powered vehicles. And so all of a sudden, bicycle messengers, we became we're alternative transit. So all of a sudden, we found a place that was really hip, that was like, hey, man, yeah, no cars in the city, right on, and we were all in the mood to just take over the streets of New York for vehicles that weren't polluting.
So he was like the protest, like if you saw like a flyer that said "Come here," it would probably be Stallman's shop. That's where everybody would meet for these vehicle protests, right?
Well, they weren't vehicle. No, he wasn't big on the protesting. The protests were run by Steve Athenios, who was a big male, who was a leader, the big Greek guy with the deep voice, and all that. He was our Greek god, as we called it, who he was the one who led the protests
Yeah,
down
but
down.
I remember meeting there because Stallman had a
Oh
oh my
yeah.
God, the big plastic bin vehicle for
Oh
moving
yeah.
shit
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and
He
the
had Dutch
sidecar.
vehicles. Yeah, he had Dutch vehicles. I mean, it was just the cool place to hang. It was the 1980s, late 1980s.
But how did he have the sidecar and the vehicle that you pedaled and
That
you
came from
oh,
you know his name.
oh my God, no, the guy who had that weird place on like East Ninth Street,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
Oh, who was that guy? That place was crazy.
That place was crazy, and that's where the messengers also had happenings and fundraisings.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, that place was so crazy. It was almost like there were hanging nets or
Yeah,
something
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
people sleeping everywhere.
Yeah, so the funny thing is that, oh, how can I forget his name? Because Steve and I talk about him all the time. I think he's got a bicycle spot out there in Brooklyn now. Um, oh, it's so terrible. Maybe it's better I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
at any rate, we were in this. I was only in this milieu because of you, because you knew Stallman. And then, of course, Stallman was hiring me to. All I remember is steel wool and the evil
Yeah.
stuff. This
Yeah,
is the
what
first time we're gonna mention the evil stuff in the cans. What is the name?
I was gonna ask you
Oh
if
no, I have to go.
how can I can still see the can,
Oh
and
my
they were
God, I can
gallons, and it
feel
was
the
this
can.
jelly. It was this jelly
I
that
can
would,
feel the
like,
burning
sting
on my
you, that would
skin.
burn you on contact, and you had to do it with gloves, and plus when you
Strippies?
start
Wait,
eh
strippies? No?
yeah, it's something like that. Strips, I can't remember, but isn't that funny, Cara?
It was
You meet
it's a
me,
big white can with a handle, like old style
yeah,
can
white with red lettering.
with red lettering. Okay, I'm
Red
looking it
lettering.
up.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Wood stripper.
So yeah, remember? And then we'd have to, like, if we wire brushed anything, the stuff would like splash onto our faces because we get a
Well,
little
no, you have to wear goggles after a while because
oh, you have to wear goggles,
you could
definitely.
go blind. But I remember, and I don't know whose apartment it was, but when we were, maybe we should wait for this. But no, let's do it as it comes up. Uh, what's her name? This
I think it starts with the W. The old hey, Stolman would know. I will find
I
out. That
know he would know, but no,
yeah,
who's
he would.
the famous singer that used to be on our crew? Um,
Oh,
Joan Osborne. So
Joan Osborne.
so you and I and she and Jerry, her bass player, big guy, big black guy, he developed the out of black plastic bags because we had to strip
Oh, I
every piece
remember
of
that.
wood in this apartment, and it was a small old apartment. And so he made these costumes for us out of black plastic garbage bags with blue tape around the waist, and you had and around your wrists
Where's
And we
the
were
picture?
wearing black plastic bags and then goggles, and then it would eat through your gloves. So you had
Yeah,
to
it
have
would.
these.
Yeah, it would eat through your gloves. It's like that one finger. It always ate through the index finger first,
You would
and then
tape this shit
tape it.
on the woodwork, and then with steel wool and scrapers scrape like
Yes.
200 years of paint off the woodwork.
Farted on those old bars. Well, you know where those old bars went, right, Cara?
Where?
Well, he sold them to like, big to restaurants that needed an old bar. But
Right.
I think he had one or two that actually went to Hollywood for something.
Oh, okay.
So he also had a warehouse up at 125th Street that was full of
That's
even more of
right.
them.
Did you ever go up there?
I went up there, but it was like such a maze, and very dark and everything.
I think
Um,
maybe we went up there once. I can't
I
find
think
it.
we
They must
I
have
think
taken this off the market,
I'm
Leon.
sure they did. I'm glad they did.
Oh my God.
Antiques do not need to be refinished. Take them as they are, or don't take
Yeah,
them at all.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I'm here still looking on Google. Um, paint strippers that actually work on Reddit. No, this stuff should have been illegal all along. But anyway,
Man, it's too bad we didn't save a can of that.
it would splash up and it would hit you and you'd go, ah, so you always you were always like, ah. It was so dangerous.
It was really
We
it
had
was
no
so bad.
insurance. We had nothing. And
It was so bad, but that index finger, that was the real thing. That was when it was like, yeah, and then if we didn't have another glove, but we had tape, we would just tape the index finger
and
on the
that's
job.
not even the fumes. Like we're not even
Yeah.
talking
Oh,
about the
yeah. Oh,
fumes,
yeah.
like the fumes were. But then I
Oh,
remember for a while
yeah.
we would wear those awful respirators and you would get these big marks around your big red mark. We had to do that at Keith Haring's because it was so dangerous.
Yeah, that
But
was
anyway,
toxic.
so we're in this giant old place on East Houston, and next door to it is Milano's, the old man
Milano's.
bar,
Yeah.
and on the corner is the deli we painted. And so we're in
But
there one night, and there was always a fridge at Stallman's, right, filled with something to drink, I think.
I don't
Wasn't
know. I don't
wasn't
remember him. No, no, no. We're in New York. What's he gonna do plugging in a fridge? It's like go to
Oh,
the
I think there
deli.
was a fridge.
Are you serious? I'll have to ask him. I mean, I don't remember ever pulling anything out of a fridge at his place, to be honest.
Okay. I
Okay.
thought there was sort of a constant supply of beer and something.
Oh, hell no. That's how I'd escape. That's when it was time, when it was, it was always BYOB to Stolman's.
Okay, okay,
But
that's true, paper bags.
he was right next door to, my favorite
Yeah.
place.
And you were telling me that this is where one of Tesla's first,
Right. Across
places
the
was?
street. No, this is the thing.
I remember the
Directly
empty
across the
lot.
street. There wasn't an empty lot back then. It's now the CVS, I believe. CVS and something else.
Wait, I
But
forgot my other glasses, hold on.
but but
But
right
wait, wasn't there a chain link fence and they sold furniture out of that place back then? There was like a
that was before my time. There were something
mm,
else there. But
mm.
all I know is that directly across the street from 48 East Houston was, and I think the address was 10 something. I don't know. That was Nikolai Tesla's last
Oh,
laboratory.
Nikolai Tesla, not this asshole.
No.
Oh,
And I'm so angry he took Tesla's name.
I am too, because people
That's
don't
so
even know.
unfair.
It is unfair because
They
it's
don't
got
know. Tesla wanted electricity to be free to everybody, I mean, and then Edison decided, hey, wait a minute, we're in a capitalist country. We can't let that happen here. I mean, right?
yeah.
That's how I look at it in a nutshell. And
Oh, do
so,
you want to do a show and tell of your Tesla sweatshirt, which you unfortunately wore for the first episode?
yeah, is it in
It's
the
like
wash?
I was playing it back, going, "Why is she wearing this?" It was
Is
before
it
the election.
It was
before.
before the election, and Cara and I, we were getting together just to do an equipment check, not to really go on air and do a podcast. So I really wasn't thinking about what I was wearing. And after I realized, oh, you had your Tesla sweatshirt on, which is what I wear around the house.
And so
And it was before the election, but at now what I've done, I will not wear it out. Well, what I've done is I will wear it out, but I've blacked out the white. So it looks like now it looks like just like a black sweatshirt. So I have
but
to let you know.
when did you work for Tesla? When were you on the assembly line?
I worked for them. I guess it must have been, was it before COVID? Yeah, it must
Okay.
have been before COVID. And this is a problem. I don't really, I need to chronologically document my life. It's always on a resume, but every time I have to look at a resume, it depresses me. So, uh, but
Okay, so let's move into, we kind of did this briefly in the first episode. So we're like young women hanging out at Steve Stallman's with other bike messengers and different kinds of revolutionaries. And Stolzer comes in and hires us on his paint crew, just like that, I think, right?
well, I kind of believe it was a setup.
Okay.
Because I think Stallman, I think, Cara, when you walked in, Stallman was sold on the two of us. Me alone, I think back then we were, you know, we helped each other. We built each other up. We were in a partnership. And I don't know, whatever that meant. Okay, so that meant that now Stallman is like, hey,
wait, did you have this philosophical outlook at the time that we were a partnership?
no. Well, I don't know. I'm waxing. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we had a part. We did. We
Hey,
were a partnership. We
we
tried,
could call
anyways.
this waxing and waning. We did a lot of waxing too.
Yeah, no, not only this is a funny part. You started by putting paint off, and then with knowing me, you had to learn how to take it off too. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's
Oh,
kind of funny how just the stories. I mean, at least in my own mind, all our minds are different. But
well, I
that
like the fact that like the stories a lot of times revolve around like what we're using, the chemicals we're using, like the story of that little apartment where we were using strippies or was it strippies?
it could have
Uh,
been strip ease. It could have. It's too.
striptease. It's like striptease.
Yeah, it's strip tease. We had to do a strip. That would be a funny comedy thing. I tell you, we got to find that old can somewhere. That's a classic. That's a part of
Okay,
our life.
so, but I mean, that whole apartment, like all the memories are around that burning and that awfulness and that gooey paint that would come flying off, and Joan Osborne singing while we painted. I mean, that was
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
Oh my
But
god.
but that wasn't our first job, I don't think. Did he try us
No,
out?
that was not our first job. Our first job. Our first job was up at Yoko's business partners
Okay. So
apartment.
we already talked about that. The high rise, you were
The
painting
high rise.
flat and semi-gloss on the ceiling.
Yeah, we
Uh,
talked about that.
depending on the moment, and it was like shining differently, and Yoko walked in and I really thought she
Did
was
she walk
something.
in? Did she walk? I hope we closed the door to that ceiling because I'm
No,
sure
no,
she did.
she walked in and she talked to us for quite a while.
I
You know
think I was.
what? I just remembered we were having an argument about Farrow and Ball. And Michael wanted to use this hoity-toity Farrow and Ball. And I said, I'm not using anything but Benjamin Moore because anything else drips. And I'm putting this Farrow and Ball up and it's dripping. I'm cutting in the ceiling and it's dripping. And then Michael believed me. He was like, yeah, this paint is shit. I think.
Well, was it Farrow and Ball? I thought it was Pratt Lambert. That's why it was Pratt and Lambert. That's how I made the mistake on the ceilings because the
Okay, Pratt
cans
and
all
Lambert.
look alike.
Okay.
It was Pratt and Lambert.
Okay.
And yeah,
And I was
and
like, what is this crappy paint? Why are
yeah,
we using?
it was.
Because
It was.
you get it in your body, you're doing these things thousands of times and you get the viscosity.
Yeah.
Oh, we could also call this viscosity and breakdown. Um, you get like the certain viscosity, right? And then we would thin the paint out with either water or, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
forgetting the names of these
no,
products.
I know. We should learn the name. It was something
Oh,
ease. It was flow ease. Now we got
flowies.
strip ease.
And it was this goop that you would stretch the latex paint with, but water
Right.
worked well as well. And
Yeah.
but
We
you
would
got it
also,
in your arm, like how many dips, how many this, and when you changed
yeah,
paints, it was
yeah,
like over. You couldn't like,
you're
ah,
right.
yeah,
No, Benjamin Moore it's still my favorite paint, I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
It's
of
like
course.
because it works, and maybe it's because we know it so well, you know? But we have used a lot of paints, that's
Okay, so
right.
let's bring our viewers, if there are any left. Um, let's bring our viewers into the Dakota, because
Oh, yeah.
I don't know which entrance we went in the first day, but, and this is part of the story I wrote about it, that before you got on 72nd, before you got to the actual real entrance, you went down this slope into this parking garage. And there was a
Mhm,
parking garage dude in a little parking garage house down there. And then there was a service elevator. And
mhm,
so, but it was huge. It was like a city block underneath the
mhm,
Dakota was this parking garage.
mhm.
And then I mean, we didn't have to show any, there was no real security. There was a parking garage.
No, there was security. We got stickers every day.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, I had 1 sticker left that I had put on a piece of art in Germany, and I'm certain that that could have sold the piece of art. It was
Okay,
a
so
visitor sticker from the Dakota. It did not sell the piece of art, but it might have helped a little bit.
so for anyone out there in the world that doesn't know that this is the place John Lennon and Yoko Ono lived, where John Lennon was shot in front of the building and has become really a famous building in New York. This is we were on Michael's crew, and you said John and Yoko's son Sean had turned 18, and there were two apartments that they had on the same floor of the Dakota, and one was the play apartment, music and art. So, and then the other was perfect. It was Yoko's Japanese apartment. And do you remember being sent in there once? How nervous Michael was if you and I would go into, because we had to do a wall in the living room of Yoko's, and he's like, "Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the laundromat, and I want you to fix the drop cloth." He's like, either buy a new drop cloth, or I want you to wash and dry the drop cloth. There cannot be a single speck of
Uh,
dust on
oh
these
my
drop
gosh.
cloths. Do you remember?
Hey, no, they were 2 different jobs, definitely. When you went into Yoko's, there was like you didn't wanna track in any dust, that's for sure, which was hard coming from the other job, but we managed that. But I remember
So
one.
there's a pristine apartment, which is all white, white walls, white carpet, white piano, white furniture,
That's the white room. That's the white
and
room.
yeah, and that's where we were painting, and we had to like, I'm sure we had to,
No,
spackle.
no, 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 Cara, we were not painting in the white room.
Yeah.
No, we weren't, because the white room, we were not allowed in the white room, and I got to go, do you remember, Anson? Do you
No.
remember Anson? Anson
No.
Anson and Lisa lived above, Penny Arcade on Stanton Street. And I
Okay.
got to and he was one of my buddies. So
Okay.
whenever Steve, I'd be like, and he needed work. So I said, Anson, okay, we know that you're a fine painter and all this. So I got Stolzer to let him on the job one day.
Okay.
And he was the only guy who got to even enter into the white room. And I'm like, whoa. And he's like, no, Leona, no. And then finally, he let me sneak in there when no one was looking. And all I did was go straight to the piano, look out the window, and then hurry out.
I was in there because
Well, I
there was
wasn't.
a wall. There was a wall that we had to paint in there, and we had to spackle it, and then we had to sponge it. No dust, no
Right.
sanding,
No dust.
just with water and a sponge, smooth
Right.
it out, paint over
Right.
it, prime and paint it, and then fold up the drop cloths and get out.
Well, I did not do that job in the White Room. I don't think I was there. But I can
Okay.
imagine Stolzer, he had us doing different things. Y-
Yeah.
If we're back in the Dakota right now, we might as well say, rest in peace to Roberta.
Roberta Flack, right. She
She
was
just
the
died.
I know. She was the neighbor right across the hall. So was it me? I think we both ran into her.
Killing Me Softly is her song,
I know.
song.
I know. I was singing it the other day. They've been playing it nonstop in stores and things.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
but
she was the neighbor. She was
she was
Sean's neighbor.
right.
Yeah.
So out the
Yeah.
back door, through the back kitchen, there was like a pantry area and then a back door, like in these old New York apartments where the garbage chute would be. And so we would see her putting her garbage out and and so, yeah.
I've seen her. I just saw her a couple times, but that time I mistook her for the maid, which
Yeah.
maybe we don't have to, but
Well, it's just that you were newly transplanted
it
to
was
New
my
York,
first day. It was my first day in the Dakota.
and you had said to Michael something about, oh, I was just doing that and the cleaning woman did XYZ. And he goes, stop before you go any further,
It
right?
wasn't Stolzer, it was that crazy tall guy, Michael, who was always doing interpretive dance. Remember him?
Wait. No, I don't. You mean Yoko's employee?
No, no, he
Oh.
wasn't Yoko's employee. He was Stolz's employee, and he was this tall, lanky guy who would always go through the like this, and
Oh,
you
was
know,
he hilarious? He was a musician, right?
he was funny. He was
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, no,
He was a funny guy.
I painted with him at RCA. He was hilarious.
Yeah,
But I
you.
think
Yeah, maybe you did. He was funny, but he's the one who caught. Who? Yeah.
okay, so who's because I remember the first day and I remember going in Yoko's employee, that hippie guy with really long hair, and he was wearing like really short, like jogging shorts from the 70s. And I was like, hmm, like what's
Dane. Dane. I think his name was
Dane.
Dane. Dane.
And he was taking us through all the so Yoko's apartment, and then this is sort of John's apartment, and they're connected by a little hallway and a door, right? And they're
I don't.
identical.
I don't know. I don't remember. I remember spending time scrubbing Yoko's kitchen floor
What?
with a toothbrush. See, he had us doing different things. There was one day where there
Scrubbing
were
her kitchen door
her
with a
kitchen floor.
floor with a toothbrush?
Yeah, or with whatever it took.
I can
There was a
believe it.
line of there was have you been in her kitchen?
I
You
don't
remember
remember
her
her.
kitchen? Okay, you see, that's what I'm telling you. This was the whole rope-a-dope. No one was supposed to know exactly where everything was in
No,
that
it
moment.
wasn't. There wasn't a purpose behind it. It was just chaos. I was in that kitchen mixing Structolite with the power mixer in 5-gallon buckets.
That's Sean's kitchen.
Yes.
That's Sean's
Yes.
new kitchen.
Yes.
In Yoko's old kitchen, before where she used to make her art before she got her studio on Broome Street, it was huge. We stretched like at least 6 to 8 of us. I'm serious. At least 6 to 8 of us, each of us with a toothbrush on one trail, each of us taking 2 tiles, right? And
No, I must
scrubbing.
have been part of this. I'm sure I was part of this. It
Well,
started.
I'm not sure that you were a part of that. Maybe you were doing something else, but
No, it's starting to ring a bell.
anyways, that and another time, remember, Cara, you turned me on to the Maids, the play, The Maids by what's his name?
Genet,
Yeah.
Jean Genet.
Yeah, Jean Genet, you turned me on to that play, and about the maid looking into the drawers and everything and
Right,
all of
right.
that. And so I'm like, there I am in the kitchen. And who's not curious about what's in the kitchen drawer? Right?
Well,
I
years
opened the
later,
kitchen drawer. I
you
opened it.
you did, and what did
I
you find?
opened the kitchen drawer closest to the door so that, I could just close it and leave. You know
Yeah.
what was in there?
What?
They were all tapes of Yoko and John's music and just Yoko and John. That was all that was in that whole drawer, Yoko and John.
Of the cassette tapes of them?
Yep. That
Oh,
was all that was in the kitchen drawer, Yoko and John.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, so Dane walks us. He must have been on speed or something because there was something really off about him, and he was just like taking. And I remember because you and I were always the ones who got sort of the more like scariest things, like Leona and Cara move the gold records, and we were like,
Oh,
what?
yeah.
Like,
Well, we were good. That's how we learned our art moving.
but it was like, wait, what? You want us to reach over and take off Beatles gold records off the wall and just put them on the floor next to, okay. And
Yeah.
then the next one I remember is being in Jan Wenner's apartment, which was amazing.
Yeah. I've
Ground.
never been there, Cara. See,
No, you were there because Michael said, Cara and Leona, see the Frank Stella over there? Go take it off. and I think both of us said to him, wait a second. Don't we have to do something like wear gloves, or like isn't there some procedure as opposed to like go take the Stella off the wall and
uh,
put it in the
yeah.
hallway or whatever? It was always that way. Like, oh my God.
Yeah,
Ugh.
you know what it did to me? It brought the humanity back into art in a way.
You
I
were
mean,
not thinking these philosophical things back then. I don't believe you.
well, maybe no. I mean, look, no, I probably wasn't, Cara. Look, we were in our 20s. Was I even, I was experiencing. I'm sorry, but I've had time to reflect. That's all I do. And you know what
Yeah.
program helps me to reflect? So
Yeah.
I'm
No,
reflecting.
you're right. You're right.
And
And we're
so I'm
writers.
looking, I'm going, and we're writers, so I'm going beyond the experience. And if I don't know if I'm
No, it's
I just
great. It's great. I'm just thinking,
because
was she really thinking about the humanity as she moved? Like, I remember that
I could have been. I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
were
Was
were we
was
were we in the Dakota for months? I just remember being there for like forever because we were pulling old wire and horsehair and shit out of the walls.
mm-hmm.
And the were we rewiring the place or did he actually have electricians?
We were not doing any rewiring. No, we were
Not
that's
connecting it, but weren't we putting like the
oh
PDX, not the
yeah, no,
PDX, but
no, no. This
the
is what
metal.
happened. This is what painters do. The electrician comes in, he puts holes everywhere, whether in walls or in concrete or whatever, to run new lines, and then it's up to the painters to
No, but
make
I
it
I
look
know that,
perfect.
but I remember actually pulling out old metal like snake lines of old
Oh
wa-
yeah.
out of the
Yeah.
walls
Yeah.
and I remember having a
Oh yeah.
sledgehammer and breaking
Oh
walls,
yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. That
right?
was yeah. That was
And
dusty.
then
That was fun. I like that part. The
and
demolition. That's
then
right.
and then struck to light. Struck to light, the
That's
answer to
right.
everything.
They would not have an electrician come in there to break the holes and make the wall. Yeah, you're right, Cara. You're right.
It's
We did
like
that demo. The
yeah.
electrician comes in and lays the wire and leaves, and then we clean up the mess we made so that he could do his job.
But I mean, it was a total redo. It wasn't just we were painting the
Oh no.
Dakota. We were
No,
redoing
no.
the walls, the whole I mean, some places it was down to the studs, new sheetrock. I mean,
Yeah.
we were, and it was so chaotic. And Michael would come in every once in a while and just be like, wouldn't he? He was just, oh my God.
But we were all doing what we were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I
And,
know.
but it's like, and, you know,
And
I love
we
that.
never stopped. But so
No.
I remember that in what was going to be Sean's bedroom, so he had some model girlfriend who was Balinese, I think, and he had
No,
ordered.
she was Russian. She was
Oh,
Russian. She was Russian, and I'm like, "Well, how long is this gonna last?" You know, but Sean was, he was only 18. It's his first girlfriend. It's a Russian.
but I remember all the furniture was Balinese, and there was
Yeah,
a
the
so
furniture was
in
Balinese.
his bedroom they had specially dyed with vegetable dyes this wall-to-wall wool carpet.
It was so beautiful.
It was,
Oh,
it was thick, but this deep burgundy. And I remember us
oh,
all on the carpenter's paper or whatever you call it, butcher
right.
paper, would eat in there. And there's this giant Balinese bed, and he would come in and sometimes eat with us on the floor.
Yeah.
And that crazy carpet. I mean,
Was it
so
maroon or aubergine?
aubergine.
Was it aubergine?
Yeah, it was close to black.
It was like so like, ugh. That's all I remember. And I think, didn't we call that paper rosin paper? Is that what we called it?
No, no.
Builder's paper, anyways.
But who was, yeah, builder's paper. But who was on that crew with us?
I can't I can't remember everybody. I remember Tall Michael. I remember
Did
you.
he turn out to be a heroin addict, Tall Michael? Something was
I
up.
I don't know.
Oh no, he
I
went in the
don't
hospital
really.
for alcohol, didn't he?
He what?
Didn't he go in the hospital for alcohol or something? Because I
I,
remember his girlfriend was periodically kicking him out or something. There was always a drama, right?
he always had a drama. Oh my gosh. I can't remember. I ought to ask Stolzer. I ought to call Stolzer and ask him what he's up there. He's upstate,
So
He
should
would
we have
love he would
should we
love
have
to
him
hear.
on as a guest? Should we
I
do
think we
like
should. I think we should have him on as a guest, and he will disprove everything that we said. We'll get into a three-way fight about what really happened.
right? That's true. He'll just say, "Are you guys crazy?" But when we left the Dakota, that place, I don't remember what it looked like when it was done. Were we? Because I guess we weren't there for the final,
No, we weren't
you know.
there for the final furniture move in and all that stuff, which is kind of sad. But at least we
Right.
got to see that beautiful Balinese bed with that aubergine carpet. It was like, uh, and those greens and reds that we painted. Uh, I was like, this is
Oh
one
yeah,
lucky
so
kid.
so the wall colors were deep purples and reds
They
too.
were
Was it,
deep. They were deep. They were deep colors. And
and the hallway was like red, was
no, the
it?
hallway was green. The hallway was that a deep forest green, not even
Oh,
like a forest green, but I mean those colors were expensive. Let's put it that way. They were probably the most expensive colors you could get for Benjamin Moore because they were beautiful. I mean, they
there
were
was so much pigment in there.
yeah. Yeah.
And the
Anyway,
thing is that after you've done enough of these jobs and you become proficient at it, what I was just sitting here thinking, well, how did I end up keep painting for like 20 years of my life? It's because nothing that you could do in New York City, except waitressing, which I had done, which drove me mad, um, would actually pay you this way. And it was always easier just to get the next paint job than to think about temping or whatever else people did, because somebody who could paint on a crew, I mean, it's 30 years later, right? And people are still making the same hourly wage that we made. I mean, we were making, that was a lot of money. Wasn't he paying us like 15 maybe? Or
no, were we making two bills a day back then?
I
Because
mean, maybe,
we
maybe,
were maybe,
maybe.
or at least 125 a day. At least
Oh,
we
at least, at
at
least.
least at least 125 a day, and that was back in the 80s.
And that
So
was a lot because my rent
that was
was, $400.
right,
So
right.
So
So
there was no way that you would like somebody said, why don't you get a job in,
yeah,
publishing or whatever? It's like, what?
no,
Like you could not make more money than this.
yeah, it was a good job it was a good job to have. Remember?
Yeah.
I said,
Not
"Cara."
everybody had this skill. And
Yeah,
we
not
would
every
show up. And I remember the paint store, my buddies at the paint store, Epstein Paint on First Avenue,
yeah,
which was 2 avenues from Fourth Street apartment. And I used to carry my ladder up to Epstein's, order the paint, and they would send my ladder in the truck up
right,
to whatever
right,
job I was on. I
right.
mean,
That was so cool. They liked us. I mean, you stayed painting in New York for longer than I did, okay? And you moved up the ladder, as we know, which will be whenever you feel
not
like
really. I
you
mean, there's nothing more. There's no better job that we ever had than the Dakota. I don't think.
really.
So I should say here this story, which I don't know who told it to me, whether it was Michael or that after John died, that I thought it was how Yoko got to know Michael Stolzer, is that after John died, that whole parking garage underneath was filled with like 100,000 bouquets of flowers. And so while she's up on, I don't know what floor they were on, while she's up like dealing with all the trauma of her husband being shot, all these flowers underneath her are dying and they keep arriving and they keep dying. And she is freaking out. So she calls Stolzer and says, I need you to get all of your friends, all your artist friends with all their cars and all their vans and take these flowers out of here and give them away. And that's what he did, organize this, which took, I don't know how long. Do you remember?
I do not remember. I don't remember. I don't know who those guys were. I'm sure Stolzer, when he needs to get something done, he's going to get it done. I'm sure he was like, he did a great job, right?
Remember that old blue van? Wasn't it an old blue van? And didn't we all pile in there and he'd take us to different jobs and stuff?
I don't ever remember riding in a blue van with Stolzer. Didn't we always just take a subway or a taxi? That's
Yeah, but
when you and I worked together.
I think sometimes when we were going between places, we would pile in this just horrible old van.
I don't remember, Cara, but you have to remember, I mean, right. My,
Because in between all this, the real important stuff is going on. We're working in the Dakota is not really the focus of our lives. We're
no,
like,
because we're just like working in the Dakota at
yeah,
that time.
I
It was
mean,
like, oh wow. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really think about I really did not think about that the whole iconic factor of it at all.
oh,
What I mean, that's why I'm sure that my musings now that tie everything together in a metaphysical way has to do with aging.
yeah.
Okay.
Because I
So,
mean, mostly what we're doing is drinking at night, fighting with each other, um,
oh my
going
gosh, I
out.
was so terrible.
We're
Yeah,
going out on our bikes. We're in Manhattan. We're just in this big swim. I remember
we're having a good time.
only went once. I remember going down to see Joan sing and Jerry play bass down at Nightingale Cafe. Nightingale.
It was down somewhere, oh, what was that? It a blues bar? I heard her sing
Yeah,
at the blues bar the first time, and that's
I
when
think it
that's when
was. I
she
think it was.
electrified that place. She played with those who were those old guys, that blues band that were known in the city back then, those old timers?
Yeah,
She
I
played with them.
remember.
She played with them, and she electrified that little place like
I
nothing.
remember.
Everybody left that place knowing she's got a deal somewhere. She
Well,
was
it was
great.
such a shock because we worked with her on the crew and she had a beautiful voice. I mean, she would sing as she was painting but to hear her at that club just like,
That was
what do you
awesome.
call it? Shake the roof down, shake the
It
walls
she
down.
she really
Wow.
she
That
really
But so that was also a weird connection, like music, business, like that Michael's crew had artists on it, but musicians on it. And we were working for musicians and, like, and Jan Wenner's place, because he owned the Rolling Stone. And then we went to paint for the head of RCA. And then I guess after you were out of the picture was
I was out of the picture. I don't remember RCA. Did I move? I didn't move to the farm. What was I doing? Oh, we probably broke up. We
yeah.
probably broke up and you went on with Stolzer's crew and I don't know
Well,
oh,
because
that
Stolzer called me in the middle, like late one night, and he goes, Cara, I don't know who else to ask. I don't know anybody else I can trust. Keith died today. Oh, that's a whole other episode.
that was
Painting.
a whole other episode, which yeah, that's a whole we have so many episodes. That's true.
Okay, so next time
But
we'll do Keith Haring painting the red room at Keith Haring's.
the Red Room at
Oh,
Keith Haring. But you have to remember that, yeah, I think at some point I broke off. You were lucky that you traveled on with Stolzer. I ended up headed to the alcoholic bar where I made a whole new bunch of friends who were
wait, what
contractors.
bar are you calling the alcoholic bar?
Milano's. That was my alcoholic bar.
Okay, but yeah, I
So
mean, we used to go there too.
yeah, but I think after you and I split, you went off with Stolzer and did some of those great things with RCA and Jan Venner.
They were just paint jobs. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
paint jobs, but they were windows into a whole other way of life, and and come on, let's face it, nothing is just a paint job, Cara. That's what made us special. Don't you think that's what? Don't you think that's what
Right,
made us?
man, you are really reframing this. Nothing is just a paint job. Well, I think some people who are painters would agree, but other people would be like, that's a stretch. Some things are just
Yeah, no, but I used to hate it when people would say, "Oh, you make painting." Like I had this one Madison Avenue, that's a whole other story. Madison Avenue bride who jilted her her groom at the altar, and I was involved in this, and anyway, so she came in.
she jilted the groom for you and you were painting?
Not for me, no, she jilted the groom for a Tish. And
For
not
a what?
for a Mr. Tish.
Oh, a Tish. Money, 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 money.
Yeah, and
The
she was
Tishes are
already in
big.
the money with this guy who was like an oil dealer out of Poughkeepsie, but it wasn't enough. She had to go for the Tish. And
I went to
so
the Tisch School of the Arts, by the way. Yeah.
so so anyways, this is what bothers me about painting. And I look at everything that we do as something special that makes us extra. Okay, a painter for whatever reason, whatever. So I'm painting. She says, "Oh my gosh, you make that look so easy." I said, "Oh, well, thank you. Have you ever seen the Ice Capades?"
What? I'm not understanding any of this.
Okay, have you ever seen the Ice Capades? They also make it look easy.
Oh, we are
Okay,
not on par with the Ice Capades.
I know we're not, but I mean,
I had a horrible story about working on a guy. Where did I meet this guy? I was on another crew and we were on Madison Avenue and we were faux painting this woman's woodwork to look like wood.
was that with Mark?
Maybe.
Remember?
And it was such a mind fuck because, like, why are we faux painting her wood to look like wood? It's already fucking wood. And that was the level of like disconnect. And oh my God, I had a couple sleepless nights over that one.
Oh my gosh,
That
is a
was
funny
scary.
one.
That was scary because her kids, I was doing a fireplace there and our kids wanted to come in and hang out and we were having a nice time and they were watching me, give them a little brush. They were doing a little bit and she would come in and she'd be like, I remember once because she came in and said, why are you not watching TV? And I thought, oh, this is what a weird place this is. This Madison, it was like a a really big fancy Madison Avenue apartment, and everything was like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was a
That's
weird.
hey, that's the fun of being a painter in New York City. Let's face
Well,
it. I
okay,
mean, for if you're gonna paint in any city in America, it might as well be in New
right.
York.
You get to
Because
go inside other people's houses and
not
be
only that, but you're gonna get views that you're not gonna get maybe from the Empire State Building, but that's a view everybody else gets. I
right.
mean, that's a beauty of, I always felt like painting was about if you were somebody's house painter, that was about as private as you could get with them unless you're their plumber. As far as you know what I mean? A painter is, you've got to trust them. There's a lot.
Well, I think I turned you on to the maids because Gabi was directing me and Barb in the maids. And what we decided to do, because I remember Jason Eskenazi took the publicity photos. What we did was we found a guy in Westbeth
Mhm.
who would allow us to rehearse in his apartment if we cleaned the apartment. So we were maids rehearsing. No, this is the way we planned it. We
Oh,
were
that's cool.
maids rehearsing the maids.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
so we would be like scrubbing, and he would leave us really crazy notes like, please scrub all the cracks, around the tub with toothbrushes or whatever. He would leave us really saucy notes, instructions, and we would go through all his drawers and then we would rehearse the play.
Oh my gosh, that is too funny, Cara.
Too extra, right?
Yeah, that is so extra. I mean, I'm so glad I'm so glad I that it's good to see you again, Cara. It's
Hey,
just
we're,
good
we're
to see you
laying
again.
down we're laying down these stories so that we don't have to spend 20 years writing about them, because we don't have those 20 years.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
All right, so next time we'll talk about the Blood Red Room, Keith Haring's Blood Red Room.
Okay. And yeah, Keith Haring's place. We could start talking about Keith Haring's place. There's some stories there. So, Cara, um all right. Is there anything else?
Well, I don't remember leaving the Dakota. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't either.
remember, you
It,
know?
it, it just kind of we just kind of left it floating up there, right?
Also,
We didn't realize that there would be a day when we don't get to come back and see it all done. We didn't realize that,
and
right?
also things were so hectic. I'm sure Michael was like, hey, 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 come on, come
Yeah.
on, come on. Like, we need to go to the next job. Like,
Yeah.
everything in New York was running at like 3 times speed, right?
Back
Everything was
then in the
going
80s,
on just like, whoa. It was, yeah.
there were so many. It was, yeah, that was a great time.
And the thing was just, it was just like your motor was just like, pay the rent, pay the rent, pay the bill, like
Yeah.
that's all you thought about.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's what we did. That's, yeah, I guess we were artists without, I don't know. What do I know? We were just poor people trying to make a living in New York City, found a great way to do it and,
Yeah.
and got lucky. But I think I have a whole story about this whole thing, about how it all came together and how it shaped our lives to where we are today. Don't you
Hmm.
think? Don't you think it shaped your life to where you are today as a writer to some degree?
Well, I was thinking before that we are rich in story matter.
Yeah.
And then I thought, story matter. I wonder if I should have named my Substack Story Matter. And then I thought, maybe we should name the podcast Story Matter. And then I thought, no. So that's just we
Okay,
were
so we're thinking.
we're rich in story matter. We will
Yeah.
never, like other people who are like, I don't have any ideas to write about. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, here,
Um,
try this one. Um, no, but so, and I had made the mistake, and my life, I felt like my life was so rich in New York for whatever reason. And I had made the mistake just not really caring so much about becoming rich in my pocket, and I think
But that
I,
just wasn't a focus of ours. We
it
weren't.
wasn't a focus. We were there for the experiences and the learning and,
I mean, God
anyways.
knows. I mean, all of those places, when you think about it, these penthouses, these places were all, any one of those places we could have been snapped off as like an assistant for somebody, right? Like here
Yeah.
we are, two capable college educated women in their 20s painting these apartments, going into people's apartments at night alone. People trusted us.
Yeah.
You named us Protean painters. We had
No,
our,
we were called poet paint at first. And then we were called precision painting, I
oh,
think.
but
It
wait,
was poet paint.
there was a time we were Protean.
That was your company, probably.
No, you came up with Protean. I wouldn't
Holy
have come up
moly.
with Protean.
Are you
Protean
sure it
paint.
wasn't another company you
Mm-mm,
had?
mm-mm. No. But anyway, what I'm saying is any of those avenues could have taken us in a different direction and we would still have enough stories to write about. I don't think it had to do with painting. I think we would just have because we were so like we would do anything.
Yeah.
Somebody'd be like,
Yeah.
do you want to
Yeah.
string a wire across the Twin Towers and walk on a tightrope? Maybe no, but we'll help you string the wires up.
I had a job putting up Christmas lights at Pier 39 one season. Oh my gosh, Cara. Anyways, well,
Okay.
look, I hope to see you at the Daily Dive.
Yeah, I hope you
Okay.
come back.
I will. I will. I'm gonna try to come back because I'm looking through everything that I've written there, and it is a lot. And this is what I need to come back to.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're there every day. Every
I know
day.
you are.
It's keeping
Okay.
me alive. Okay. Bye. I'll see you
All the best to you.
next episode.
All
Bye.
right. Bye, folks. Bye, Cara.
Bye.